Keep it clean. So today we are talking about Ignite Session 5, which is generating leads. My name is Bridget Potterton. I am a broker here at Metro. I've been here 14 years, and next month will be my 20th year in real estate. And today we're going to talk a little bit about lead generation, the types of lead generation, how to do lead generation. We're going to practice some lead generation. And get some outside the box thinking that maybe you haven't thought about different ways that you can find clients. Before we get started though, I want to go backwards just a minute because you all just finished your first section, which was real estate, what a real estate expert is. So can anybody tell me what their biggest thing that they learned or their ahas, we like to call it in real estate, from what you've learned from the first 4 sessions? I know some of you it's your first day, so I'll go easy on you. Anyone want to share something they've learned?
I learned different props that you can bring to open house.
I'm sorry?
Different props you can bring to open house, like records, just besides the description of the property. You can bring some statistics, you can bring some comparisons, and things like this that would start up some conversation.
Great. And what's your name?
Lydia.
Lydia. Okay, so Lydia said different props or things like materials, marketing materials, and things you can bring to the open houses. That's great. That is huge. There's a lot of different creative things you can do for open houses, and that's one of the most popular ways to do lead generation. We'll talk a little bit about that, but we'll also talk about maybe some less popular ways of doing that you can think of, and things that maybe you're already doing and you just don't realize. Okay. So today we're going to start with lead generation. When I say the word lead generation, what does that mean to you guys? What do you think?
Database.
Your database? Mm-hmm. Contacts?
Places you find clients. Places you find clients.
Places to find clients, absolutely.
Just looking for business opportunities.
Looking for business opportunities, absolutely. Yep, those are all different things. A lot of times people think of lead generation as, something I don't want to do. Anybody ever feel that way? No? Everybody here loves lead generation? Okay, either you're going to be our best real estate class ever, or you're all a bunch of liars. One or the other. But yeah, a lot of times people think, lead generation is the drag. I want to just go out and hang out with clients and show property and take listings and all of that stuff. So that's okay. So we'll talk about that. Then we're going to talk about a success system on what to do with your leads once you generate them. Okay. So there's a couple different ways to get in touch with people. One of which is easy. Are you all on like Facebook? Okay. So on Facebook, it's easy to find somebody's birthday. Usually, if they have it public, that would be a way to lead generate, right? So, or it would be a way if you don't see them on Facebook or they have a Facebook but their birthday is not public, that would be a great reason to call them. Hey, I just noticed I don't have your birthday in my calendar. What's your birthday? Nobody's going to tell you no unless they don't know you and they think you're trying to steal their identity or something. But they're going to say, oh yeah, sure, my birthday is March 8th. And then what can you do? Put it in your database and follow up. Send them a birthday card, send them a birthday text, a birthday video, any of those things, right? And those are easy, fun ways to do lead generation, but it's just one more way to keep in contact with your database. Once you all start getting closings, in addition to their birthday, you can start sending them home anniversary cards too, or things like that. So that's a second touch you can do with them each year. Absolutely. Okay, so first we're going to do business generation, then we're going to talk about your sphere of influence, which is actually typically the preferred way for most people to do lead generation because it's people that you already know. They already know you. You know them on some level, and you've probably built some level of trust depending on how well you know them, right? Okay. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about categorizing our sphere of influence. Has anybody done that in their database? Yeah? Tell me a little bit about that.
So when I initially started adding contacts into my command database, I would tag them and I would either segregate them as my sphere or a lead or a buyer, and then I would put a note as to how I met them, when I met them, and maybe anything else. So then later on, when I started to figure out the command system much better, I would see it all populated, and it was pretty awesome.
Absolutely. Command, if you haven't all used Command yet, that's our Keller Williams database. One of the coolest things about it is the tagging system, which makes it really easy to do things and to remember where you meet people. Like, for example, next week, a lot of us are going to go to Keller Williams Family Reunion in Anaheim. And so if you are going, you would create a tag, KWFR23, Keller Williams Family Reunion 23. And any agent that you meet there could be a potential referral partner, right? So you add them to the tag, you can put in there, I would do a separate tag of agent, but then also one of KWFR23. So now I know exactly where I met them. And I usually will put in the notes also exactly how I met them. Did I meet them from a networking event, from one of the luxury masterminds, or from a class? Did I happen to sit next to them at a class? I usually like to make notes in there. Have you all played with Command a little bit? Okay, good. I have a Command in the background. I can show some things to you, but those are just really easy ideas of how you can use Command for your database. It is a pretty easy system. It can be a little intimidating, I think, when you first look at it, because there's a lot of pieces to it, but once you kind of get the hang of it, it is a pretty good system, I have to say, and I've used quite a few CRMs. Okay, so now let's get into there we go. Okay, so we're going to talk about lead follow-up and transactions. Sorry guys, I've never used apples, and now it's confusing. There we go. Oh, that was really slow. Okay. Okay, so today we're on session 5. Okay, so number 1, you're the lead generator, okay? And then number 2, we're gonna go through our lead generation model. We're gonna talk about sphere of influence, expanding your sphere of influence, and lead gen practices. And then we're gonna do some practice ourselves. So Gary Keller is the CEO of our company, in case anybody doesn't know that. He was our CEO for a long time, then he stopped and he was a board of directors. Now he's back to being CEO, and he's been CEO again for quite a few years now. And he said my fear of failure was greater than my fear of lead generating. He was an agent with I forget what company before he started Keller Williams, but he had a fear of lead generating, but he said his fear of failure was greater. So there's six core pieces for our business, one of which is going to be the lead generation piece. And the lead generation piece, in my opinion, is the most important. Why is that? That's how you grow your business. That's how you grow your business. Well, if you don't have leads, then the rest of it doesn't really matter, does it? Yeah. So lead gen, and then presenting to buyers and sellers their agreement. So that would be a buyer-broker agreement or a listing agreement to a seller. Showing buyers homes on the market, which for a lot of you, you'll probably work with the majority of buyers up front. That's just kind of how it goes when you're starting a business. It's just easier to find buyers than sellers. Not always the case, but for the most part. Number 4 would be writing and negotiating contracts. 5 would be coordinating the closing, and then number 6 would be managing the money. And the money management is rarely talked about, but that is a really important piece, because when you're a business owner, you don't automatically get your taxes taken out when you get a commission check, right? So you have to factor all of that in when you get paid. You're running a business, whether or not you realize it or not, being a real estate broker or an agent, you are a business owner. So you have to treat it like such. So here's some fears and myths. Anybody feel this way ever? I think lead generation is hard. Yeah. What about I don't have time to lead generate? I totally believe that sometimes. Yeah, I don't have time for that. I'm busy twiddling my thumbs. I don't know what to say. That's another good one. Yeah, sometimes it depends on the scenario too, right? I don't want to bother somebody. I don't know what to say. I'm afraid of screwing up. That's another common one. I don't want to mess up. You don't want to look unprofessional, right? So here's some mindset shifts that Keller Williams put together to sort of shift your thinking. Number one, with lead generation being difficult, I was confusing my effort with enjoyment. Lead generation is actually easy, it's just not fun. But it can be, and we'll talk more about some fun ways. I don't have time. I had an issue of making time to lead generate and protecting that time. There's a BOLD law. BOLD is a great real estate class that we'll talk a little bit more about today. That is a 7-week course that is a real game changer for realtors. And they created a bunch of BOLD laws. And one of them is, if it's not in your calendar, it doesn't exist. So you may mentally think, oh yeah, today I need to go talk to 10 people about real estate. But how likely are you going to do it if you didn't actually put it in your calendar? Probably not as likely, right? Number 3, I don't know what to say. I had to get on the path of mastering the dialogue skills needed in this business. And we'll practice a little bit today, so you'll get better today. And I'm afraid of making mistakes. I found that lead generation is nothing more than a set of tasks and skills that are well documented. That is so true. So true. So here you are, right? You're the middle person here, and this is your what? Your sphere. That's right. That's your sphere. So lead generation is the most important thing, but it doesn't have to be with strangers. It doesn't have to be at open houses. It doesn't have to be cold calling. What are some other ways that you could lead generate with people you know?
At bars. At bars.
At bars, absolutely. The weirdest place I ever got a listing was in a hot tub. This was like probably 15 years ago. Yeah. Yeah, there was a lady sitting in the hot tub with me, and she was like, yeah, I'm thinking about selling my place. I was like, oh, really? She's my neighbor. We both lived in the community. I had never met her before. And by the end of the hot tub, which was only maybe 20 or 30 minutes, she was like, well, do you have time to sell my place? I'm like, yes, I do. I do have time. And that's how I got the listing. Yeah, it's not quite as risque as it sounds, but it was very innocent. But anyway, you just never know where you're going to get a listing. Or a buyer, for that matter. So the biggest thing is your sphere of influence when you're getting started, unless you decide that you want to be a cold calling or open house machine. So let's talk about your sphere. Now, how many of you have lived in San Diego for more than 2 years? Most of you? Okay, so some of you are new. So how many of you feel like most of your sphere is outside of San Diego? Yeah? Okay, where are you two from?
I'm originally from the Middle East.
The Middle East, okay.
England.
And how long have you both been here?
I got here last summer.
Okay, so about not even a year.
No.
Okay.
Last May.
Okay, wow.
Yeah.
2 international. Okay, so so there's a couple different ways you can do it. Number 1 is obviously you want to get out there as much as possible if you decide that you want to focus on your sphere. Number 2 is you could network with the Keller Williams offices from your areas and around those areas that might have referrals to send to you. You already have an in with them, just saying, oh yeah, I lived there and just moved. Yeah.
So I've been quite lucky because I've had to go and find a doctor, a tax representative, a hairdresser, and all that sort of stuff. So that's how I started to build my sort of network.
Absolutely. You need all those things anyway, right? So you might as well talk to them about real estate. Absolutely. You're jumping ahead. Have you heard this class before? Okay, so the next thing I want you to do is take a look. So we're going to talk about our sphere of income opportunities. So what I want you to do is take out, just for 1 minute, take out your cell phone. Okay? And I want you checking your tags. I'm going to see you all on Instagram. But I want you to go to your phone and look at the number of contacts that you have. Figure out on your phone how many contacts contacts you have, which you can look at on your, it's on your settings. Anyone want to shout out a number?
310.
Okay, 310 contacts, great. So, here we have a, I'm going to use this one. So this is a helpful chart to figure out how much money is in your phone right now. How much is your phone worth? Meaning your contacts, your database, right? So the first one, you take the number of contacts in your phone, and you can all write this down if you want. The number of contacts in your phone. So in this case, they use 250. So yours would be a little bit higher, Sheldon, than this. Potential closing opportunity for contacts. So that actually comes from two different numbers. It is, according to the National Association of Realtors, the typical person moves every 8 years. According to the census, the homeownership rate in the United States is about 64.8%. So if you assume that 64.8% of your database is homeowners and that they move every 8 years, that means about 8.1% of your database. So what you would do is you would take 250 or whatever your contacts is, and you would multiply that by 0.081, 8.1%, okay? And that tells you how many potential closings you have in your database, just right now, without adding one more person. Just in your database right now, or database. Okay. So then I want you to take, have I lost anybody yet? I want to make sure. Okay, good. Then I want you to take that same number at the top, so we're going to use 250 and multiply it times 0.1 or 10%, which is the potential referrals in your database. So these are just, so the first one is just potential closing opportunities. The C is actual referrals you could get from those people, meaning they may run into somebody in the next 12 months that might want to buy or sell a house. So that is 25. So if you add the 20 people in your, and again, you have to figure out what your number is, but the 20 people in your phone that may want to buy or sell a house this year, plus the 25 potential referrals, that equals a total of how many? 45. 45 closings. And that's potential, right? That's potential, not necessarily that you will get 45, but that's potential. Those are pretty powerful numbers, right? Now, keep in mind that this class is a nationwide class, so they tend to use lower commissions. Now, everybody's splits in here might be different depending on if you're a team or an individual, but let's just take a simple number. Let's say that you have, we'll just use the 45 closings. We'll say, let's say a $12,000 commission. So if you sold 45 homes at $12,000 each, your GCI or your gross commission income would be $540,000. That's pretty powerful, right? And we haven't even talked about adding one person yet. All this is from your 250 people to that. Okay? So your income opportunity, instead of 225 here, because they use 5,000. I'm trying to make more realistic San Diego numbers. That's $540,000. That's a lot. Aren't you glad you're selling real estate in San Diego instead of the Midwest or the South? Less competition there, but definitely make a lot less. Okay. Any questions about that? Okay. So if you didn't get a chance to do it, just look through your phone later and do the math there and just kind of follow that. Okay, so your contact list is your database, and social media is another potential. So I know most of you said you have a Facebook page. Is anybody on Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn? all the other things, Twitter. I don't really know anybody using Twitter that effectively in real estate, but that doesn't mean that they're not. I just haven't seen it. People have definitely, Twitter or Instagram and TikTok have certainly blown up for a lot of realtors. That's kind of exciting to see all the creative videos and whatnot. So, one of the things that's kind of cool about social media is it gives your sphere, your database, an opportunity to get to know you. I don't want to say the lazy way, but in a more strategic way, because you're not necessarily having quick one-on-one coffees with all of them. You're telling them or you're teaching them something about you in with an audience. So it's not just one-on-ones, you can reach more people, right? It may not be as effective as a coffee with somebody, but it gets you in front of more people. And that's one of the perks of social media. I would love to hear from any of you if you want to share. Has anybody done anything really creative for lead generation so far? Even if it hasn't worked yet, I would just love to hear some creative ideas. Yeah, Sheldon?
Well, actually, I shadowed Ken going to Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just posted a video, just messing around with it. It was the first time. And I got like a couple people actually hitting me up like, hey, you doing real estate? I want to buy a house.
Okay. So now, I want to make sure we cover everything. So just so you know, this is a 4-hour class. I'm turning it into 3 hours. So if you see me staring at pages, it's because I'm debating how much time to spend in each part. I want to make sure we get you the down and dirty so that each of you have some new tips and tricks to take away today for your business, okay? Okay. Okay, so let's talk about lead generation and the database model. So I'm going to show you that here. Here we go. Okay, so the first step is lead generation, right? So that's your lead capture. That's what we're focusing on. And then you need to add it to your database. Now, a lot of you have already been in Command. If you're not in Command yet, I don't care if you're using a spreadsheet for right now. Just have something written somewhere until you are comfortable importing it into Command or whatever CRM you're going to use, okay? Just make sure you have it somewhere. So once you have it in your database, you have your leads and you're turning them into contacts, right? So leads that turn into contacts. So that could be somebody from like an open house, maybe somebody you didn't know, maybe a sign call, maybe somebody filling out something on your website that goes from the lead into now you've had a phone conversation, now they're a contact, you can add it to your database, okay? And then the other key part is to cultivate the contacts for the conversion. A lot of leads never get this far. Why do you think that is? Anyone want to take a guess? Why they don't get to the conversion state?
No follow-ups.
Follow-up. There is a saying in real estate that the fortune is in follow-up. And first of all, I have to be honest, there are times where I'll get a call from a buyer or seller, usually it's buyer, and I'll be driving and I'll think, okay, I gotta add them to my database when I stop. And after that, I've had 5 more calls. I can't even remember much about it. And so I've lost probably countless leads because I didn't put them in my system. So now I have a little bit better system. I have an admin, and so sometimes I'll say, hey, that guy that just called that you forwarded me, can you put him in Command? Put him under leads and put him under opportunities for a buyer in 6 months or something like that. Because if I wait till I get home that night, it's not happening. The cool thing also is that our Keller Williams Command does have a decent app too you can use on the phone to do that. But obviously you don't want to do it when you're driving, so use it with caution. And then once you convert those people, then you have an opportunity not only to get business from them, right, to buy or sell, but what is the other big opportunity? Referral?
They'll keep referring you.
Yes, referrals is huge. It's a huge part of your business, absolutely. You will have some clients that really like you and they will never refer you any business. And it will be frustrating and you will lose your mind over it. They said I was great, how come they haven't sent me any buyers or so? Some people, it's much harder to train on how to properly send you a referral. And then you have some clients that you will find that will change your business. And they will be what's called raving fans. Sometimes it's not the ones that you think will be either. Sometimes I've noticed my friends that I help buy or sell, they don't send me as many referrals as some of my clients that are not friends, which is kind of funny, huh? I don't know. But, and then one of my clients that was, in my opinion, one of the worst clients I ever had, has become my best referral source I've ever had. Yeah, I almost fired her as a client, and I look back, now, with my business, I wouldn't put up with a client like that. But I'm glad I got her when I did, because I was willing to put up with a lot more back then. And she turned out to be the best referral source I ever had. Yeah. And then so, like I said, you'll get repeat referral there. Okay, so prospecting and marketing, we're focusing more on prospecting today, but does anyone want to share with me what the difference is between prospecting and marketing?
Maybe prospecting is going out there, having conversations, looking for business. Marketing, I think, is more on the branding side and your presence.
Yep. Yes. And social media is one of those ones where people will argue that is totally, lead generation. That is totally prospecting. I think you could argue it either way, but really it's probably more branding than anything else, depending on what you're doing, obviously. Because I know some people in our office, they pay for ads on Facebook or Instagram, things like that. To me, that is marketing, although it is, you can get them to fill out a lead form, so is that lead generation? I would consider it more the lead generation once you get their information and then you prospect them from there, but that's just my personal. There's probably agents in here that would argue, in our office, that would argue that either way. So marketing is more expensive. Obviously, it costs money typically to do marketing. It's more passive and it can take a longer time for you to see results from it. So oftentimes with newer agents, we don't necessarily recommend you spend a lot of money on marketing because well, when I started in real estate, I was 23 years old. I had zero money. So I didn't have that opportunity. Some of you might be in a much better financial position than I was. And so maybe you have money to put in, a couple $100s a month or a couple $1,000s a quarter into marketing. But for most of us, that's just not realistic. And that's why we focus on the prospecting aspect of it, okay? And if any of you have a ton of money that you're gonna spend on marketing, don't tell us, we don't wanna know. Just kidding. Just kidding. It's okay. It doesn't matter how you grow your business. I'm just giving you guys a hard time. Okay, so now let's talk about some more ways to do it. So what is a lead? Don't look. What is a lead?
Someone that
Not
shows,
tall enough to hide it.
someone that expresses interest in real estate.
Yeah, somebody that you have earned the right to have some sort of communication with them, right? What is a contact?
Someone you had a conversation with and they've responded with their feedback.
Right, a two-way conversation, right? So what about if you maybe met somebody at an open house or they called you or something, or sent you a text message and you're texting back and forth? Does that count?
Yeah.
Nowadays, back in the day, Keller Williams said texting doesn't count, but they have changed their attitude, which is good because I do a lot of texting. And then relationship management. Obviously, that's going to be a key thing. Now, do you have to be good at relationships in real estate to be successful? What do you think? That's what everybody thinks, but some of the most successful ones are walking robots with no personality and zero care for others. But they're very, very good at being intentional. So no, you don't have to be good with people to be successful. Almost any personality type can actually succeed in real estate. It just depends on if you're willing to do the work to if you're willing to do the work that makes sense for your personality type. There are some introverts that you would think, gosh, they must have a really hard time in real estate, right? They don't like to talk to people, it's a lot of energy, blah, blah, blah. But some of the most successful realtors are total introverts. They're just, they go into a listing appointment, it's bam, 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 here's the information, sign the contract, done, move on, right? Whereas with me, I feel like my listing appointments are like an hour and a half. And, but by the end of them, I know everything about them, or they know everything about me, one or the other. But I'm more relational. For me, relationships are very important. For some people, they're not, and that's okay. So yes, so if you're not a relationship person, yes, you can still succeed in real estate. Don't worry. Okay, so different types of communication. We already talked about most of these: phone call, email, text message, face-to-face, KW app, and handwritten communication. Does anybody do handwritten notes? I have a couple in my purse that I need to do today.
I have terrible handwriting.
You do what?
I have terrible handwriting.
Oh no! We gotta work on that. Well, actually, so there's some really cool programs out there where during COVID I started using an app called AM Cards, like AM Cards, and you type it and then they send the card. Yeah, and you can put like a personal picture. So for me, when somebody announces on social media that they're having a kid, I copy that picture, put it on there, and they get a card with a picture of their baby, or a new puppy, or if somebody's dog died, I usually send them a card with their dog on there. And you know they're going to save that forever, right? So there's a lot of different creative ways you can do it. So even if you have bad handwriting, there are solutions for you. That one's AM Cards. There's another one called Send Out Cards. That's the same thing. They'll, you just type it out, put in their address, and it goes. And it's also, for me, that's so much faster than doing the handwritten note. But I'm kind of old school. I still like to send out handwritten notes too. Client referral. Okay, so your database will generate leads in the form of new, repeat, or referral business. And then putting it all together. So lead generation. My least favorite part about lead generation is that you'll never feel like it's done. Why is that?
Because you always have to be building a business.
Unless you're like, you know what, I just don't really want to sell houses anymore. Which, I haven't gotten to that point yet. You'll always feel like there is more you can do. Sometimes that can feel a little exhausting, so just be prepared for that there is always more lead gen. You could do one more open house, you could do a couple more phone calls, you could do more text messages, you could send out videos to some clients or things like that. There's always more you can do. Okay, what have you guys learned so far with this first part of the chapter? Anything good or bad, that's okay.
Anybody in my contacts is worth money.
Everybody in your contacts is worth money. One thing that took me way, way too long to realize too is, let's say that you have a client who, or not, we'll say not a client, but an acquaintance, somebody in your sphere that chooses to work with another realtor, okay? And it's gonna happen. If it hasn't happened yet, believe me, it's gonna happen over and over and over, believe you me. But one thing that I didn't realize is those people may feel obligated to use their mother or their sister or their other best friend, or maybe they don't want to work with you personally because they think you're going to know too much about their finances and they're embarrassed because maybe they had a bankruptcy or bad credit or whatever. Don't discount the fact that even though they may choose not to work with you for whatever reason, that if they still think you're a good agent, I mean, if they don't think you're probably going to be a good agent, they probably won't for anything, but they may still refer you their sphere, their friends, their family, just because they're not comfortable sharing their information. I had a friend of mine from college do that. Every time she buys and sells property, she works with another agent. And I can't remember why. I know she told me if it was because there was some relationship there or because she didn't want to mess with friends or something. I can't remember. But she refers me other people, which is really cool. So as much as we, want to bring out the voodoo dolls and the pins when somebody chooses not to work with us, don't write them off. There could be a valid reason why they don't want you to know what's going on with them, but maybe they'll still refer your business. Okay, that was a big aha for me. Anybody else have any they want to share?
I recently learned that just because it is on your calendar doesn't mean you won't find a way to move the time around.
If you erase, you must replace. That is the saying. And that is also a problem, right? Getting it on the calendar, you're only probably 60-70% there, depending on how disciplined you are. But if you're like, oh, actually, I gotta go do X at that time, I'll just move it. But instead of moving it, what do you do instead? Delete. I've never done that, but maybe you guys have. Okay. Okay, so let's talk about sphere of influence. So, before I reveal the next slide, I want to make you guys do a little bit of the heavy lifting. I get tired of hearing myself talk, so this is going to be interactive. Can you tell me maybe some places or some people that would be ideal for you to be putting into your database or to be networking with, chatting with about real estate? Shout them out.
Golfing.
Golfing, yeah. Meeting people playing golf.
Gym.
The gym, absolutely. Church, oh yeah. At another job, absolutely. I mean, depending on the kind of job that your other job is, you might have a lot of opportunity there to, to meet people, depending on how cool your boss is, or if it's like some sort of affiliated type business, absolutely. Anybody else?
Your kids soccer events or
Park, soccer events, oh yeah. Dog park with your dog, oh my gosh. That used to be killer. I don't take my dog to dog parks much anymore, but yeah, those are great ones. Anybody else?
I do quite well at the bar in my rental complex because everybody's about to move out.
Yeah, at a rental community, right? Because yeah, some of them might be looking to buy at their next move, right? Especially depending on the type of community you're in too. Rents are astronomical right now. Oh my gosh, yeah. That's a really good point. Anybody else? Yeah. And I'm sorry, what's your name?
Joel.
Joel, okay, hi Joel.
My wife gave me a tip. I have a toddler, 2 years old. We would turn down a lot of birthday parties because of COVID.
Yeah.
Ever since I became a realtor, that changed very quickly. So we have a couple of birthday parties lined up next month, 4. So happy kids. We're going to use that opportunity to network with other couples, especially we have kids there.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I need to take more advantage of that too. I have a 4-year-old and I don't do that. That's a great idea.
Yeah, we used to turn down, especially because of COVID.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But now, she came up with that idea, so I'll give her credit.
Yeah. I mean, maybe there's even something creative that you could bring to the party for the parents. I don't know, maybe a little bottle of vodka with your name. I'm just kidding. That might be a bit much, but like something cool for the parents. Yeah. Just a little something small, not necessarily something they're gonna have to like carry, but.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go. Yep, lots of different ones. Okay, so here are 15 different categories of how you would categorize your different spheres, your sphere of influence. Okay, so first one is obvious, immediate family. Has everybody in here told their immediate family that they're in real estate? That they're in real estate. Assuming you're in communication. Okay. Friends. Have you all told your friends you're in real estate? Have you made a post on social media at least? No? Get on it. Well, are you licensed?
Yes.
Okay. Get on it. Now's the time. Relatives, cousins, uncles, aunts, nieces, nephews, yeah, okay. Neighbors. That's another one. Some people have mixed feelings about this, like, oh, do I really want to work in my own neighborhood where I have to see people and I walk around in my pajamas walking my dog every day, you know? That's a decision you have to make, but it's certainly a place where you hang out a lot. You could put together a neighborhood barbecue or something like that. Past coworkers, that's another one. Or current coworkers if you are working at another job right now. Hobby sports groups. I played soccer for a really long time. I just retired a couple years ago, and I sold my teammates property throughout the years. Teachers. That could be either your kids' teachers, or if you go to a gym, you have an instructor or something like that. Church, anywhere you volunteer. I sit on a couple advisory boards, and I'm involved in quite a few nonprofits around San Diego. I never did it to get business, but I have gotten some closings out of it. So that's a potential way. Professional services. So that could be, that kind of falls in line with financial and legal. So, CPAs, you should all be talking to your CPA right now anyway, probably with taxes. So it might not be a bad time to say, by the way, do any of your clients need a real estate write-off this year? Lovely. Let me get their contact information. And they're not going to give it to you, but they'll probably give them more information. Attorneys. I have a unique niche where I work with a fair amount of attorneys in mind, and that's turned out to be a decent niche. Personal services, hair, massage, nails, whatever. Especially people who are, they're in businesses where they're constantly talking to people, like hairstylists, and maybe not as much nails, but I feel like to a certain extent, yes. They know everything about their clients, more than probably their significant others know. So they can be a great referral resource as well. Home and auto insurance services, insurance agents, real estate agents. Why would real estate agents be a good resource?
Because they retire.
Yeah, locally, yes, they retire. What else?
That's another referral. If they're not in your marketplace.
Exactly. If they're not in your market center, in your area. I've gotten referrals from agents in the county that either, I got one because she didn't want to take listings. She only wanted to work with buyers. I was like, yeah, I'll happily take your listing.
Who's that?
Another one because she had some health issues. Another one, think about it. The failure rate in real estate, just being completely transparent, is extremely high. So, help out your colleagues, and the ones that you helped out will remember you. If they leave the industry, they will refer you business. I have colleagues I worked with more than 10 years ago that will still occasionally send me somebody that wants to buy or sell because they decided that real estate was either too hard or just wasn't the right fit for them. But as long as they keep their license active somewhere, they can get a referral fee. And then, of course, agents around the country. So for me, my goal has never been that focused on agents around the country, but I always want to make sure I close at least enough deals per year to pay for my cap from other agents around the country. So to me, the way I look at it is I'm at Metro for free because I close a couple deals a year from agents across the country that send me business. So as long as, to me, but then there's agents in our office that probably get half their business from other agents around the country. It's just a different model. Real estate services, title, escrow, lenders. About half the lenders I work with bought their personal properties through me. Escrow officer, my home inspector, those two of my home inspectors actually. So I think you want to build those relationships with those people too. They're not just servicing, your clients. You're also applying for a job for them too, because they may get people asking them, who do you know that can help you buy or sell a house? And then anybody else? Can anybody else think of something else that wasn't on this list? It's a pretty good list. Okay. So you can categorize.
I just recently talked to Uber drivers.
Uber drivers, a lot of them are licensed. Oh my gosh, have you guys met Uber drivers? A lot of them have their real estate license. Well, it's a great gig because if you have a showing, great, go do the showing and then drive around with Uber, and then at least you're making a couple of bucks driving. I think it's actually brilliant. You need a
Also,
bucks.
a lot of Uber drivers are retired,
Yes.
and then they are, in the business to sell and retired, or at home, so sometimes they.
Yep. Absolutely. Uber drivers.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Okay, so right now, it's going to be our first point to do a couple of things. Does everybody have a pen and a piece of paper, or you can type on your computer, either way. So what we're going to do, now that we've talked about all the different types of our sphere of influence, I want you to take a few and categorize your own. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to jot down a couple of people that are you would consider to be in your sphere of influence, but maybe they're not in your phone. Like somebody that maybe you could add to a category. Or if you don't have somebody in that category, write that down. Like for example, CPA. Okay, my CPA's name is Brian. Okay, Brian, I've got his number. Okay. But maybe I don't have a financial advisor. So how could I find a financial advisor? So what I want you to do is just write down a couple of categories and maybe name one person in that category. You don't have to do all 15. I'm just going to give you like 2 minutes to do this. I just want you to start thinking about your lists. And if you're missing one, that's okay. Just put CPA so you remember later, okay, I need to go get a CPA. Okay. Remember, these are people not currently in your phone. One more minute. More seconds. And stop. Okay, so of people that were not currently in your phone or your database, how many people did you each add? You can show me with hands or you can shout it out. 4, 7. People that are not currently in your database that you can add. Okay, 7, 3, 9. Okay, 5. Okay, so let's use 5 as the average in the room, 4 or 5. So now let's do some quick math on, so there are 5 people that you now, we'll say on average as a group, that you now need to add to your database that are not currently in your database, right? So let's take 5 people times 0.81. Do you remember why 0.81? Because of 8.1% of people, right, that will transact in the next year. So 5 people times 0.81 is how much? 4.05, yeah. Now, multiply that times what we said our average commission was. Do you remember what that was? 12,000. 12,000 for San Diego. I'm making up the numbers. Okay, so if you add that together, on average, each of you just added $48,600 of potential commission to your database by adding 5 people. Okay? Does that make sense? Okay, that's a lot of money with just a few people. Okay, good. So sometimes it can be a little overwhelming to think about building your sphere, but what you've all discovered is that with the number of contacts, each of you probably has a pretty decent sphere anyway. And building it can happen day by day. You don't need to add 20 people in one day. So if you have a slow open house or you're not getting as many leads one week, that's okay. I know a lot of you, you set goals and everything, but it's a numbers game. So by building it day by day, you're slowly going to be building your database. So what are some easy ways that we can add some people just in our everyday life? Joel already mentioned at kids' birthday parties, he could add some people to his database, and that's something he's already doing anyway, right? He has to go to his kid's friend's party, so he might as well get a couple leads from it, or a couple contacts at least. Anybody else have any suggestions on your day-to-day life, how you could do that?
Advertising parties, like Super Bowl,
Super Bowl parties, oh my gosh, yeah. That's
Kids martial arts classes.
Kids martial arts classes, adults martial arts classes, soccer, whether you're watching or playing. Anybody else?
for some reason I've been having a lot of like people at grocery store.
Yeah.
I was gonna say like grocery store, farmers markets.
Yeah, well, talk to people there. Yeah, you could join a networking group. They didn't really talk about that in the sphere of influence, but I am a member of a networking group that is a very attorney-heavy networking group, and so for me that has worked out well with my niche. But you could just decide. And there's a lot of different networking groups. People make up their own. There's BNI. There's LaTip. There's Provisors, and there's so many out there. That's another opportunity for you to get to know people, especially if you feel like you don't have enough professionals in your realm. That's a great way to do it, because you'll probably be referring them business, and then they're more likely to refer back to you as well. That can take a while though. Sometimes that can be frustrating with networking groups. Yes, Joel.
Do you have any suggestions for reaching out to potential clients that you might have on social media who you don't have their contact info?
Oh, you mean like if you're Facebook friends with somebody but you don't have their email or phone number?
Yeah, it's kind of going back to what you said.
No, free Facebook. They don't store secretly. Just talk about it. That's cool.
Oh, call them on Facebook. Yeah, you can do that. You can call, you can do a video chat, I think, on Facebook. I think one of my clients was one of the programmers who did that. You can do video chat, you can do calls. If they're on LinkedIn, LinkedIn has a little contact section, and I feel like people are more likely on LinkedIn to give their contact information because it's more of a professional setting.
Right.
I've gotten a lot of people's, like a lot of attorneys that I'm pursuing, I've gotten their contact information like that. Attorneys don't like giving out their email addresses. That's just how they are. They don't, it's not something that they do. Sometimes they don't even put them on their business card. But they don't just like hand them out to people like we do. Here's my business card. Here's my business card. Attorneys aren't like that at all. At least not the ones I know. And so I've been able to get their email addresses through a couple different ways, one of being LinkedIn. So check them on LinkedIn too. I guess you can look up people's email on Facebook, right, under their contact, but I don't know if that's public.
Depends on how they set it.
Yeah, probably, yeah, their settings. Yeah, that's true. Facebook gives you a lot of, I guess, an ability to be able to show what you want and what you don't want. Yeah. So that's another one. Dropping off dry cleaning. That's another one if you guys do dry cleaning. People at your local restaurants, bartenders.
Baristas and bartenders.
Yeah, that's a great one. Yeah, they're huge, right? I mean, they're talking to people all day long too. I go to this brunch spot almost every week, and one of the servers, I don't even know how, because I actually have not been that vocal about what I do. One of them was like, "You sell real estate, right? Can you help me find a place? I need a new rental." I'm like, "Whoa, I don't do rentals, but I'll help you, girl." Okay, you know. But I don't even know how she found out. Probably from one of the other bartenders. Okay, so building your sphere. Some other options. Okay, so now we're going to get into the nitty-gritty of practicing. And I know you've got to go, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So what we're going to do is practice a couple interactions, and then we're going to really spend some time together in groups working on it so that you can start getting more comfortable with talking to people about real estate. Have you guys done any of this practicing in Ignite yet? Okay, so today will be your first day. Okay, so I want you to think about the last experience you had out and about in the public talking with somebody, whether it was a barista, bartender, dry cleaner, karate instructor, or whatever, going for a run in your neighborhood or a walk in your neighborhood, walking the dog, or at the dog park. Did you guys have a conversation with somebody at that point? What did you talk about? Anybody want to share?
Yes.
Did you?
Yeah, I bartend, so that's all I do.
Okay. So, for example, let's say, I know a couple of you mentioned you have kids. So, did you wave at one of your kids' friends' moms or dads at drop-off? Did you smile at the barista? Do you say hi to your neighbor when you're walking the dog, even if you're in your pajamas? Okay, I added that part in, but. So what you want to do is you want to start really identifying the everyday activities that you're already doing and figuring out how you can create lead generation opportunities on it. You're already doing it, it's time consuming, so you might as well get something out of it. So here's one example. Let's say you're walking by a neighbor, or kid drop off, doggy daycare drop off. I mean anything. You could say something like, we see each other every day, and I don't know your name. I'm Bridget. Would that be hard to do? No. You didn't even say anything about real estate yet. You just acknowledged them as a human. And most of the time, people are pretty nice. And if they're not nice, okay, well, you just saved yourself a lot of hurt and anguish by a difficult client. But at least you know. Okay. So, this is just a way to think about different ways you interact. Did this help anybody think about maybe something specific that you do somewhat frequently, where you could maybe change your way of communicating with people, or actually start? Yeah.
I do a lot of yoga.
Yoga.
In the zone, and there's like tons of people. There's a nice neighborhood, so I go out. It's a middle mature neighborhood. So I never connect. Because I go walk around with my dog, I talk to every neighbor, this and that. But whenever I go to yoga, there's like 50 people every time. Yeah.
And do they talk? Do they socialize?
They do, but I don't.
You don't. Okay.
Yeah, so that's
There you
yeah,
go.
Yeah, I literally come in like a zombie, just get in my place because I'm so used to it. That's my workout place. But that's something I do all the time. So probably should take that opportunity.
Well, and I know sometimes with yoga, people really do like to be in their space or whatever. I've never been able to do that with yoga, but I know people do, so I can understand that. But yeah, I mean, it's an opportunity to talk. And if everybody else is talking,
yeah, everyone except me, literally. I was thinking about that. I'm like, I'm a typical thing and antisocial. So.
Yeah. I do workouts usually at 6 in the morning, and I'm barely functioning at that point. I don't drink coffee, so I'm kind of just dragging my feet into a bar or a boot camp. And I don't think I've ever told anybody at those two places that I'm in real estate, unless we're Facebook friends. because I'm like, hi, yeah, I'm here for class. Maybe if I, learned how to drink coffee, maybe I could chat it up with people beforehand, right? So, okay, well, good. It sounds like you guys have some new things that you can start doing and implementing in your business, and that's the goal for this class, is just to make little changes. So here's another gold law: change the way you look at things, and the things you look at change, which goes back into our lead gen, because if you start looking at it as everyday things that you're already doing, it doesn't seem quite as intimidating, does it? It's just having conversations with people. At some point, once you guys finish Ignite, maybe put it on your goal a year, 2 years from now to take gold. It's a good class. Okay. Any other ahas? I know a few of you already shared what you can start doing. Yes?
Just the awareness to shift the conversations that you're having every day from, can I get a venti coffee, to whatever else, real estate involved, or just anything that you can get to make the conversation more personal regarding whoever you're talking to.
One thing that I've done that has helped me in social situations is, let's say you're at a party, a networking event where there's multiple people around, whether or not they know you're in real estate or not. Let's assume they don't, okay? Let's assume they really don't know you. One thing that I always try to do is have some ridiculous real estate story prepared. Like, I've been telling the same story for 10 years about how I was showing a property one time, and this cat jumped and like clawed onto my sweater and got stuck on my sweater, and I was like flailing around with the cat like flying in the air, and I couldn't get him off of me. This cat just like wanted to come after me. And then the cat, I finally flung him off, and he sprung right into the front of the door, and I was trapped. I couldn't get out because that was the front door. And it's so dumb, but people love that story. It's just something crazy, right? So just go look at some houses and do, take pictures of something weird you saw. Go preview some listings. Go into open houses. If you see something really great or really terrible, show it. I created a whole thing on, I don't know if any of you are Facebook friends with me, but every Wednesday I do a Wow Wednesday where I show something ridiculous in real estate. And now I don't even have to find them. People all over the country send them to me now, so I don't have to find them anymore. But there's some just terrible stuff out there. Some of it's funny, some of it's kind of cool, but it's just different, right? And people know I kind of have a silly personality, so it works with me. So you just have to figure out something that works with you and talk to people about it. If you're an analytical person, for me, I also actually really like numbers. So I say, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. Our inventory just dropped about 3% this week. People don't really know what that means. So, it's just one more thing to talk to people about. Okay, so come up with your thing.
One thing I started doing, it was just a silly idea I had. You go onto YouTube and type in real estate jokes. So you've got comedians all over the world saying funny jokes about real estate agents. And I share them on Facebook.
I love that. Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. I bet there's some good ones too. I bet. I believe it. We're kind of a laughable industry. We're like the only people who like post our successes constantly. Like, oh, here's another one sold. Like, could you imagine if you were like a surgeon? Oh, I saved another life today. I didn't kill my patient. Only in real estate do you actually see people do that. It's so funny. We are a funny bunch. Okay, so expanding our sphere of influence. So adding more information to our sphere. So now we're talking about people who are already in your database. So your 200, your 100, your 300, whatever you have in your database or your Excel sheet, whatever you're using, to add information to it. So do you have most of your sphere, do you have their addresses? Do you have their birth dates? Do you have, one that I'm always so bad at putting in is like their kids' names or their dogs' names. Usually I can remember dogs' names, but not kids' names. Those kinds of things would probably be helpful to remember, right? Because I've called clients' kids by the wrong name before. And by sharing, once you get to know their personal information, then you can, you're going to see them. Take a look at your database and your notes. Oh, hey, how's it going? Did you guys ever finish that bathroom remodel you guys were doing? oh my gosh, thank you so much for remembering. How did you remember that? Yeah, we finally finished it 6 months ago or whatever, assuming you don't keep in touch with them that much. So keep notes in your database. Command has a really easy note section for it. Put that stuff. There it is, right there. Kids soccer games. Volunteering, joining groups. There's so many different groups. There's notary clubs. There's or Rotary clubs, not Rotary clubs. Rotary clubs. There's you know, your kids can be in Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts. I mean, there's just a billion different clubs. You can join a swim club. You can join a health club. You can join the YMCA, whatever. I mean, there's so many places you can join to do it, or just volunteer. You can meet a lot of great people volunteering. And chances are, if they're volunteering, probably not jerks, so they're more likely to be willing to talk to you. That's not always the case, but just in general, that's the nice thing. The other thing too is if you don't have a Keller Williams shirt, you can get a Keller Williams shirt, or I have a couple of silly shirts, they're not KW, but say something like, I'm a matchmaker, I forget what it says, something I help people match the home of their dreams. Something corny like that. But I've got a couple of those kinds of shirts that you can just wear when you're out and about, workout shirts, whatever. And people say, oh, you're a realtor. What's that? What's that like?
Yeah, can I just purchase some shirts asking about real estate?
There you go. Wear them when you guys go out in public. I mean, obviously you're a realtor at an open house, but do you wear it when you go to a coffee shop or the gym or you're doing your errands? Yeah. Picking up kids from school, all that kind of stuff. Absolutely. And then referrals, asking for referrals. So you want to build a relationship based on people who know, like, and trust you, and you do want to train them on how to give you referrals. And like I said, some of them will give you great referrals, and some of them won't. Some of them you won't even have to ask, and they'll just get it. Those are like your gems. And then you have some where you can ask them for referrals all the time, and they sort of mean to, but maybe they don't want to. Or certain industries, like I have one guy in my networking group. He is from, I want to say Merrill Lynch. He's a financial advisor. His company does not allow them to write testimonials for people publicly. Yeah, they must have gotten sued for something, which is really sad. But so he can't give me any testimonials or anything like that. And he has to be careful to give referrals, which is really sad. Most companies aren't that strict. You know, in real estate, if you haven't learned it yet, typically you want to give 3 names out for anything. So if your client wants an inspector, you typically are supposed to give them 3 inspectors. For me personally, because I usually have strong feelings, I'll say, here's 3. Do you want to know which one I recommend? Which one to start with? But you can use any 3 you want, right? And that's usually what they do. And attorneys usually do that too. Attorneys are always also very scared of being liable for anything, so they can be a little cautious with referrals. So here's one. Here's 2 ways that you can ask for leads. Okay, so this is our first script of the day, if you will. By the way, do you guys want to take like a 2-minute break after a water break? I feel like the energy is. Oh yeah, I wonder if my car has a ticket on it. Let's take a quick 2-minute break, come back and we'll finish up.
So that family ended up however,
Thank you. Yes, okay, this is a company. Yeah.
he said that just because you just never know, and then it can just go from one day to the other. You know what? Didn't really know what happened.
Yes, sir.
If that last
Sunday. Slower than Saturday.
Right. So yeah, I'm just there.
What time do you get? I think it's at 3:30. From Leicester. It should be alright.
I had a thing I was there.
It's
My mom
build that bad boy in there. Project. Yeah, they make a little box there. That's all I need, honestly. I just think it's that in there. That's what I did when I was buy a TV or oh, snaps. Yeah, that thing is very. Yeah. I look at Amazon.
Hey girl, how are you? I'm good.
Thank you. How are you?
You're so cute.
Oh, you're so cute.
How's it going?
It's going. Busy. How are you?
Yeah, my sister's a lot of it. They're like, it's a 4-hour course. I know, Jacqueline divorced. Yesterday, Jacqueline divorced. She finished before 4 hours. So, you know, I mean, I don't know if maybe you might like. Well, Jacqueline basically said just cut this lead gen time in half.
Yeah.
I'm still.
And they have the
It's actually 4 hours anyway. That's too long.
It's long. I know. It's like in retaining that information, like you know what I mean? Yeah. So yeah.
It's bad.
I know. How's everything else? Good. Nice. Good. Same here. Are you gonna want me to text you a copy of the people that attended, like our sign up sheet? That way.
I need to get to my evals. I need to get to my 50 evals so I can move towards trainer. Come solve that.
Oh,
I
really?
didn't know they're taking the class. You had to do a minimal 50 evaluation.
Oh, really? Well, yeah, have them do it. I'll give you it right now, because I already got everybody that's here. I'll text you right now the copy of the list. That way we'll have their emails on there. You can let them know and shoot that eval thing to them.
Very something. Nice so much.
Make sure, I don't know, there might be some stuff in your mailbox if you want to check before you leave.
I
Just
will do that.
I mean, because I know Victor usually comes, but
Yeah, I know.
But sometimes I know I mail you the important stuff, but sometimes I don't want it to get too bulky for you.
I appreciate you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, so what they said is like, try to have a really conversation and then just in one way or another, instead of like 3 or 4 things. And then, I was telling Christine was there on that awesome training yesterday, and the trainer was.
Remember the one I told you? Yeah. That's the ticket.
Oh yeah, I'll take the trainer. So I was like.
Yeah, just kind of waiting for it to say.
Okay, guys, I want to make sure I get you out of here on time today. So, just a quick break. All right, so we're about to move into the lead generation piece. I want to go over just a couple of things real quick before we do that. The first piece is our script. So today, depending on who you're calling and what you're calling about, this is one option. I'm building my business on people that I know and the people they know. Do you know of anyone from friends, family, work, or your neighborhood who might be thinking of buying or selling a home or investing in real estate this year? I'd be pleased to be a resource for them. Assuming they say, no, I can't think of anybody, which they might say yes, and then you write down the contact. But if they don't, say, If you hear somebody with a real estate need, would you mind keeping me in mind and let me know right away? Okay? So, if you're calling your sphere today, probably the chances they know you. The hardest part you're going to have is keeping the conversation short. Because they'll be excited to hear you call, especially if it's like your mom or somebody, and then they're going to want to catch up. So you want to kind of limit it to a minute or two of chit chat. That's really fine. Just say either let them know that you're in real estate or that you're looking for new clients in real estate if they already know you're in real estate. Okay, so let's talk about our best practices. So first thing is to track your lead sources. So for today, let's keep it simple because I want to keep us all on task. Let's focus on people that are already in our database. So somebody in your phone, somebody you already know. With the exception of if maybe you've done an open house or some form of lead generation recently and you need to follow up on a lead, you can absolutely do that today too. If not, I want you to call somebody that you know, whether they're out of the country or whether they're in San Diego. Regardless, let them know that you're in real estate or let them know that you're looking to take on new clients if they already know. Okay, and that can be a very casual conversation. With your sphere, it doesn't have to be as scripted because chances are they're going to probably ask about personal stuff first. So you're going to have a catch-up session, and then you want to bring it back to business, okay? Just try not to have a 20-minute conversation with them because then you'll only get through one call, which is a challenge I have usually. Okay, so once you do that, then you're going to want to track it, or you're going to want to put it into command. If you don't have command, you write it on your paper or your Excel sheet or whatever database you have. That's the most important thing, is keep it updated as you're going, so you're not trying to remember later when you get home tonight, oh shoot, who was it that I was going to call back? Okay, and then here, this is a safe space. Okay, this is a lead generation session for at least a short period of time. First, we're going to practice with each other for a little bit, and then we're actually going to get on the phone and do some calls. However, when you're doing this at home or in your office or whatever, what you need to do is to protect your space. So if you are doing, if your lead gen is to go out to networking groups or do open houses, that's fairly safe because you're out working with people. But if you're, let's say, focusing on calling or follow-up, you need to put yourself in a space where you set yourself up for success, meaning limited distractions. So what that might mean is if you're, my biggest distraction is usually my email. So pausing your email, if you have that option on in Gmail, there's a thing at the top, you can pause your email. If you don't know how to do it, check it out. It's the best thing if you're like really busy and you just don't have time. Another thing could be turning off the other thing I did, well I just did this permanently, is I used to get updates on my phone of like Instagram and Facebook, and it was like constant beep, 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 constantly. I got rid of all of that. I also got rid of that for my Gmail on my phone, because I use Gmail for my business. You can turn that off too. So I actually have to go into my email to check my email. That was like the best thing ever, because it is so distracting hearing those bing, bing, bing all the time, right? So there's certain things you can do to set yourself up for success. Also, if you tend to get distracted easily by, oh, I'm hungry or oh, I'm thirsty, bring in snacks and bring in food to wherever you're going to be working. So you have zero excuse to get up unless it's an emergency. Okay? Does that make sense? Any questions? The key is to do that consistently, because if not, you will so easily get distracted by other things. If you're here, our office is pretty quiet nowadays. It used to be a lot louder, and people would come by the door and wave and knock and, oh, hey, real quick, and then before you know it, 20 minutes later, you can't even remember who you were calling. Okay? So just protect yourself from that and then be consistent. Okay. Now, before we get started, I know you're all going to focus on calling people that you do know, but there is a section in here that goes over are you all familiar with the the call list, the do not call list. Okay, so chances are your family's not going to report you, or your friends are not going to report you, but on the second page of this Ignite session, there is a whole section that talks about the Telephone Consumer Privacy Act. Keller Williams actually is in the middle of settling a lawsuit for that, among other companies. I mean, basically, I think probably most of the big real estate companies have been sued by this. So you want to make sure that when you're calling people, you either have their permission or they're on the do not call list. If you're getting lists from a title company, usually they're the most common one that do it for free, or you can pay for companies like RedX or I can't even remember all. There's so many companies out there. Just make sure that you're always asking them to scrub the list against the do not call list, okay? If you're making calls. Now, if somebody gives you their phone number and gives you permission to call them, that's different. But this is more specifically to like cold calling, where you're getting a list and you've never talked to those people. Does anybody have any questions about that? Okay, just want to make sure we don't get anybody in trouble. Okay, so that's it. Oh, but yeah, the penalties are like $1,500 or something ridiculous per call. Okay, so now let's see, how many people do we have? 2, 4, 6, 8. Oh, but you have to leave, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so
I can see.
2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Okay.
You gotta take off in 30 minutes.
That's totally fine. Oh, well, we're all going to take off in 30 minutes.
Oh.
I got a 4 o'clock, so I can't be dilly-dally.
Okay.
So let's break up into groups of 2, and I want you to just do, we're going to shorten this.
That's wrong. That's wrong.
That's 20:00.
Is it only 2:30?
It is.
Yeah.
I've been like racing through all
This
this.
clock
Oh
has
my
been
gosh.
wrong since last week.
Okay, well now we can take a breath. We're all good. Maybe we'll even get
We
an
can
extra
still get
breath.
out of here in 30 minutes.
Don't worry, we'll get out, we'll get out of here.
If you like.
Thanks for reminding me. I'm like, God, this class is flying by. What have I been doing? Okay, so yeah, we'll have to ask them to change that clock. But so maybe we'll take like 10 minutes together. So 2 people, and I want you just to practice what your conversation would go like. So anybody have an idea of who maybe they want to call today? Like a friend or a family member or a open house lead or a dog groomer? Open house lead. Open house lead, okay. So maybe what you would do with your partner is when it's your turn to practice, they pretend that they met you at the open house and you talk to them more about what it is that you're going to go. So an open house lead is going to be that's already kind of a warm lead versus you guys calling your sphere. That's not a cold call per se, but that's less likely to build into something. You already know it's a lead. Mm-hmm. So for you, that one would be more of a deep dive. Tell me about what you're looking for, if you haven't already done that. Or did you refer them to a lender to get pre-approved? Did you have a chance to call one of the lenders to get pre-approved, that kind of thing. So it'll be more of that conversation about real estate, whereas the rest of you, your conversations might be a little bit of personal. Hi, how are you? Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I'm just finishing taking this class for real estate. You can even talk about the class today if you want. If you don't have anything else to talk about, that's fine. You can talk about how, this instructor doesn't know how to tell time or whatever you want to do. Just make a joke out of it, and then you can start talking a little bit about real estate. And that's a good segue in, just something silly. You can steal my cat attack story if you want. I don't care. Oh my God, I was looking at this house and this cat just over that. Whatever you want to do. So let's just practice with each other for 10 minutes, and then we'll come back. And then we'll create a list of people who we're going to call. And honestly, because you're calling people you know for the most part, these are probably going to be slightly longer conversations. So you're probably only going to have time to maybe call maybe 2 or 3 people, realistically. I'm not going to make you do this for an hour straight. So let's practice first, and then we'll come up with our list. Okay? Anybody have any questions? Anybody have any questions about anything we've gone over yet today? Since I was in warp speed mode and I didn't do it. Okay. All right, well, tomorrow, I forget who's teaching tomorrow, but make sure you guys remind them.
It's Thursday, I think, the next one.
Oh, tomorrow, yeah, Thursday is the next one, yeah. You're right. Today's Tuesday. Okay. Yep, so go ahead and get into your twos.
That was just
Okay, do you want to practice with me? All right, let's do this. All right, so who do you want to Are you military as well?
Doing good. How's your water?
Okay.
Hey, how's it feeling? It's soft and shiny.
Started laughing.
Okay. Well, and you made a connection right there. That's a big difference. That's a big deal. So, how long have you been out of the military? Do you still have a lot of contacts there?
Are you kind of upgrading
And do you want to focus on military or not?
It's good. You know, I'm still doing water, but you know, like I told you, I was just and so I'm kind of scale back a little bit. I was calling you because I just wanted to kind of see what your day looked like on Saturday.
Do you want to practice that calling that investor, or do you want to call somebody in your sphere?
That'd be cool.
I'm sure you can
I'm going to see a lot, but yeah, a couple a year. Yeah. It's not necessarily my focus, but I do love working in the military. So they certainly deserve everything they get. They don't always deserve the treatment they get. People discriminate against it. They should not be the problem is the VA has kind of screwed themselves with some of their wording of how they require certain things. The VA is the most solid and balanced, actually. However, the way that they set it up is they still require termite inspection. It confuses sellers and listeners to require and because no other loan requires that. And that's a real problem because sometimes the seller still ends up having to pay for it because the buyer can't afford it and require repairs. So that's why I think the VA is screwing around the military by requiring sellers. They're anywhere from $500 to $10,000. So the seller, okay, so if I say I'm a seller, I don't want to necessarily, sure, I want to sell to the military family, that would cost me a third. But if I accept their offer and they can't afford, the termite, and then I have to pay for it, I'm opening myself up to maybe I haven't had an inspection in 10 years. They're going to let the termite, right? It's not just the tinting, it's the dry rot, the wood, some repairs. And that's where, in my opinion, they get structured it, you should just do away with the termite and not get rid of most of the property right there. That's the challenge. But, I mean, some people think like appraisals are particular. I don't really think they're that much particular.
What's you guys had the biggest crush on me, but I'm getting married now, so
So that's the thing, is like, the agents, they're not trying to be discriminating. I don't think it's the military or first time buyers using FHA, but it's like, well, we go with this, conventional 20% down, we have no issue with this, but if we go over here with FHA, you might have an issue with appraisals. Over here with VA, you might have to pay $12,000 on termite. So that's the challenge.
I got out of it.
Once the deal is done, we'll sell it for less. But yeah, I mean, they could do both. The loan aspect of this, to me, I don't think it would be any more risky. It's more like the cost. What is it going to cost to sell it? The problem is, unless you've already done a termite report, you know what the cost is. If you do the termite report, it's only $500. You're like, yeah, I want to sell to the military family. It's going to cost me $500, right? But most people don't do that because a lot of people don't even require termite report anymore. Yeah, I mean, so you can do a lie down or things like that, but regardless, I mean, I guess conventionally that goes $5,000, but for a seller, it's going to cost some VA buyers, they'll put 20% down. You don't have to use it down. And if I have a ton of cash, just because you're using zero down doesn't mean you don't have money. But, a lot of the ones I've worked with, they do have money. So, the state is looking at it. And also the VA has higher closing costs because you're pledging fees unless you get that rebate, which you can do if you're a certain percent considered disabled. So costs are higher. You can bundle it in. So is she a cash investor?
Seriously.
So next time you talk to her, you might want to ask her. She already told me find out how much money that you want to put down. If it's an investment, they usually want to see 20 to 25% down. It's done by like a lender and a realtor. want to still put more money down, like, if you're a homeowner living in house, you're going to do whatever you can to try to keep your money. If you're an investor, it's kind of like, yeah, you'll just let the property go. It's like you're not living in it, so it's not like. I gotta think about who I'm gonna talk to.
I'm sure they'd love to buy it.
How long have you been licensed? Okay, so you just recently got your license.
But I guess this is kind of bringing it to the forefront.
Well, yeah, that's everybody. I mean, is this your first time doing that now? Are you full time at your job? Oh my gosh, it's exhausting. That's tough. Yeah, I mean, it's hard. When I started, I was only 23. I only had one other job before real estate. I had like 3 part-time jobs. I had no money. It was hard. Yeah, I mean, it was definitely tough. But, you know, when you're 23, 24.
So you don't get
It's hard building it up. I didn't have a database. I didn't have friends that wanted to sell hopefully you can use your current job as space where you can keep potential clients out. So you're not like face to face with customers. Yeah, that's a tough. I'm trying to think how we could do an appropriate segue. Like Melaleuca or
Sarah, I met you at the fireside on Saturday. How you doing? Good. Nice. So, did you see any of the houses that you liked?
No, to be honest, I don't know
Nice. What do you think of that house?
It's tough because if you're the warehouse manager, then like Could that be seen as your like pressuring your subordinates to turn around a household? Number one. Number two, are they even in a position where they that's the problem. So many retail jobs, retail jobs, they don't make enough to, unless they're making a commission, a lot of time commission.
It's definitely one of the nicer flips I've seen. I've seen a lot of flips, a lot of flips that are as high quality as this one. But yeah, I mean, it's not for everybody. What are you? You're in a apartment complex up there, right? How long have you been there?
Like your neighborhood? Is there any potential in your neighborhood for you, your business, like you're in an apartment complex?
Okay, I'm gonna get real personal. We're getting first. Like, how much issue with a lot of this?
Are you working as an individual agent or are you on a team? We were talking about putting on maybe seminars. Like a team up with a lender because our lenders in house for you. I don't know if anyone specializes in it, but that's
If you were to buy,
that might be a way to do it. So, are you going to
are you,
so I'm going to be on the
now if you were to move, would you want to stay in like a garbage type situation, or do you want to get away from it?
She's no passive. She does 90% of the transactions.
I think I was going to talk about condo
by educating military. She and her husband have both been military people who want to get not only does she do that, she gets involved in the government to make sure that military rights and she is so in that world. And I think she's started by so because she had some clients in the military life, probably she knew from military life. And she realized that there was just a lot of things.
And then go here. Not here, go here.
It would have been 5 minutes. Yeah. And
oh man, I'm sorry that happened. What if you're in a situation where you pretty much have to learn and very nice.
there you go. I mean, that doesn't have to be something you do today, but in her 6 months, 7 months. Maybe the first one, I don't know if you partner with Carl, how that works. I'm not quite sure how his team works, because I know he's like a coach, but also happens to have a team. But maybe you or maybe you guys do something together, where you kind of help you have land. So that's how you get out. I mean, lots of different options for you. But that could be I don't know. I don't know if it's all one same big thing. Or is he coaching you too? Are you guys leaving? I'm going to send you guys an email. Would you mind? I'm trying to become a colorblind approved trainer around the country. If you could give me an evaluation, preferably 5 stars. My name is Bridget Potterton. Okay? If you didn't like me and it's 0 stars, my name is Sarah Smirla.
Have you?
Yeah, thanks for coming. Okay. Okay, guys, let's come back to starting our list. Did you guys all have some good conversations? Yes. Good. I heard some good stuff coming around. So, okay, so let's take a few minutes and let's work on our list for who we're going to call. And I promised you guys we'd get out of here early. So it's now, okay, wait, now it's 2:48, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's go until like, let's go till like 3:15. So that gives you guys like 25 minutes. That means if you end up getting stuck with, you know, your sister or your best friend for an extra 5 or 10 minutes, you're still okay to make a couple calls. Okay, does that sound reasonable? And then we'll come back, we'll figure out what we learned, we'll do a little bit of note-taking for what happened, and then I'll let you guys out of here early today. Okay, so are you going to call her or are you going to call them?
Oh, I was gonna let.
Yeah, we can all just kind of call. I mean, just don't be super loud so that we all hear the conversation. Oh, I'm going to send you an email. Do you mind filling out a KW eval for me, an evaluation form? Okay, I'll send you an email.
3 people I need to call. I mean, the time difference, so I'm going to have to be
One idea. So
What time is it there?
Probably about 10:30 at night.
Oh, good. There.
10:51.
Do you have anybody here you could call?
Hello, can you hear me? How you doing, man? How are things?
You did any open houses or anything?
Yeah.
You could call
So,
somebody
you
from
woke
the
up.
house, check in.
Okay.
Are you driving? Oh,
I'm going to do a follow-up. on
things are good,
people I
man.
haven't
How's
checked in
your
on.
water? How's everything going over there? Okay. Probably not at this point, but I can come by and make sure for you. Take a look at it. Are you guys all settled into the house? Absolutely. Nice, man. What are you growing? Nice.
So I just wanted to call and see how things are going. Give me a call back, 858-337-37.
Oh, shoot. Okay, so I know where I'm getting my eggs. So are they produce? Do they produce eggs even when it's cold? How does that work? Oh, I lost you. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Okay, gotcha. Did you hear my question about the chickens? Nice. Okay. Okay. Well, when I come out to check out your water, I'm gonna have to pick up some eggs. There are some upgrades you guys wanted to do to the house. Are you guys still working on that stuff? Nice. Good. I'm glad everything's good. How's your mom doing? Good. Very nice. Nice, man. That's good to hear. It's good to hear. Very nice. Do you have any questions regarding the water or any concerns?
No, we're doing some project.
Yeah, I need to get out there. How's your day look on Friday? Okay, so she's always there. Okay. So let me shoot you a text on Friday morning when I see what my schedule looks like, and then you can let her know that I'll try to get out there on Friday and take a look at it and see what's going on. I'm still working for the water company for Nubia. I've kind of started to transition into real estate. Did I tell you I was getting my real estate license? Oh man, I did, man. I got my. It's not as bad as people are freaking out, but it's not as bad as everybody wants. But it's definitely an interesting time to get in. They're not. Exactly. They're actually homes aren't staying on the market as long as you think they are. So exactly. So yeah, homes are definitely still selling. You know, the buyers or sellers are giving more concessions than they've given in like the last 4 years. You know, at this point, interest rates are lower than they've been in the last 4 or 5 years. It's definitely yeah, it's getting back to normal, man. Things are starting to kind of normalize, so it's good. So if you know anybody that has any questions regarding real estate, I can as well.
That's what I did. Well, that's what I did.
I got to put it out there, man. You know what I mean?
So yes, I will. No, my intention is just connect with my.
Nice, good. That's good to hear. That's good to hear.
And now, just fortunately,
That's so cool. See, that's the point. That's where I want to get to. Just build that base of customers.
Gym session or walk or run or something.
Yes. Absolutely. That's a good guy to know right there. Very nice. So let your wife. What's your wife's name again? I'm sorry. Nellie. Let her know that we'll aim for Friday. Just come by and kind of check out your water. Check out your salt level on your brine tank. You guys are keeping salt in that thing, right? Okay, cool. So it's like putting oil in the car. Good.
Then you get to know yourself. It's kind of nice.
Okay. Perfect. So let her know, and I'll shoot you a text on Friday morning, let you know how my schedule looks, and let's aim for like early Friday afternoon. I'll get out there, test the water,
You know this Johnson.
and just make sure everything's working the way that it's supposed to be working.
It was like the last time that.
Awesome, buddy. Cool, man. Let me know if you need anything. If you have any questions, give me a call, okay? And then otherwise, I'll talk to you on Friday. Thanks, brother. I'm glad it all is good, man. We'll talk soon. All right, buddy. Thanks, buddy. Bye-bye.
In bubbles, and I was like, I can't do it anymore. She started laughing. She said, we had 2 tubs. They're like, I was right that night. I'm like, sorry, I couldn't do it. I don't even know. She's a wonderful person. She's interesting. She and I are very like different. We don't have friends. You know, you get to have that friend colleagues. Some of my friends say, closest friends, friendships have been forged during that kind of time. But every time I'm like, why do I have a thing? Why am I doing this to myself? I thought about that. Just need And I've got 20 years on you. Right, exactly. Make sure you bring your emergency, make sure you wash your hands, don't touch the rails on the stairs. I have my whole list of things. When I see somebody touch it, I'm like, no, don't do that. Doors, you know, that whole. Yeah, emergency every night. I do it every day, actually. Like, it's part of my regimen. It's emergency. I already take 5,000 minutes a day. I had to take it out to my box. But like during the day, they found vitamin D was just as good as I also do oregano oil. Not that it keeps you good. I mean, I'll do whatever I can. I got COVID after filled out of my sugar. I got it right in the middle of it in October. I got it last year. I said, I thought I'd get it in February. Now, where it was medium and it didn't. I got it in September, October. Interesting. But the good news is that somebody close to me got it in January and I didn't get it from him because I just had it. I was cold. Stay away from it. I was very, and I was like, okay, good. He's like, I feel just like when I had cold last. And I said, you tested? No, I haven't tested. You're gonna test. Like, do you want me to go home now? I'm like, no, I just had it. So I'm okay. Yeah, you got COVID. I know the new it is, but he is the one that's been around for 20 years. And so he's definitely an issue with that. Worries that he's I don't want to say psychologically yet, but that first strain. I'm gonna go get some sunshine. What are we doing with the work right now?
We're running our list down to the I keep getting confused with these clocks that are off. So I was rushing through the TV. So there's like clocks that are we have 10 people today, but some of them are making calls over there, and then 3 people out.
All right, yeah, I was, well, I might see you there. You're on a panel, right? Congratulations. You've been on stage before, right?
Not filming.
No, I haven't been up there. That was leadership.
No, I've never been on stage in negative.
You know what's really cool? Is that behind the scenes. the CEO. You were like favorite sons.
I rarely remember how to see the up there.
Huh? I can't remember. Well, no, Linda, her CEO. She was
Not,
a very,
oh, I don't know, well, maybe that family reunion or something.
or maybe it was luxury. I get confused. That definitely
I know
sounds
she
like
spoke
a
about Chinese fire, but I don't think it was ever.
She did actually a really good session. I think it must have been luxury. No, it was Orlando. It had to be. Luxury this year was not somewhere warm. It was Orlando because I was at the pool watching her. It was kind of, and she did a good session about like client events.
I never see her, I never get her updates on social media, or she must not be in my algorithm. I used to see her posted stuff all the time.
You interact. Yeah, I haven't seen her post yet. Right.
So maybe she's just not as much.
I know.
Thanks, you too. I'll see you next week.
I
Maybe.
will.
Maybe.
Well, we'll hear what you think of it now. You got this, when I fix it, you got it, you know it, you've been preparing for this forever.
Thanks, Melinda.
See ya.
Jakey's like that.
That's hilarious. Yeah, you definitely should keep posting that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, I'm gonna post it tomorrow. My wife is gonna.
That's a good idea.
Right, I'm gonna ask if you can review this.
Sure.
Leaders know by. Okay, here it goes. So I'm planning on reading the script while memorizing it. Yeah, I'm gonna do a video.
Great idea.
Do like a real Facebook, Instagram. It's about 3 hours.
Remember, it doesn't have to be perfect. I wouldn't worry about even memorizing it because, I mean, sure you want to prepare and read over it a couple times, but you want to make it, but you don't want it to seem like it's being read.
It's being read, yeah, I'm gonna try to make it as natural as I can. I didn't want to disclose it on the agent, so that's why I'm stating that. Excited to announce that I'm transitioning into the real estate industry. It takes about, I recorded myself, it's about 34 seconds. So, her winning.
You could do it as a reel, you could do it on your thingy that.
Yeah, that's
Do
what
you want to do it right now? You sound like the president.
Oh, I need to cut my hair. Yeah, I need to cut my hair.
Yeah, it was fine. Doesn't need to be perfect. Think about it, you got 7 minutes. I can take your phone and we'll record it right now if you want. Think about it, you got 7 minutes to decide. It's only gonna take you 30 seconds to record it.
I'm gonna forget.
Well, what you can do is you can sit down or stand, like you could stand back there.
Okay.
And I can record video here. And you can have the computer in front of you, but I would record without the computer being seen, so it doesn't look like screen.
Oh, okay.
But I actually think that that's going to be more of a crutch because you're going to want to keep looking at it.
Yeah. Maybe practice it a little bit more.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why I usually kind of practice
I
memorizing.
know. I just threw a wrench in your plan. I know.
I know you did.
Just making you uncomfortable.
Yeah, you are.
Well, see if it goes. If you want, no pressure. If you want me to do the video, I will. If not, I'm just going to sit here and I'm going to do my note cards that are on my to-do list. But I'm happy to help record it.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
Today's the day. Make that big announcement.
It's good.
I used to get really nervous for videos too. Now I do sometimes I'll do it when I want to do my makeup or anything. Okay guys, 5 more minutes if you want to make one more call.
system at work. I wanted to ask you how that conversation went earlier. Are you using text or email? Okay, good. You know, I was gonna say, are they a buyer or seller? Okay. You can, did you go to services home? Oh, okay. So kind of more so what we're doing the same. I know there's a script I was trying to look for, I don't know if I have it, but there's an NLP script, that will help with like the 5 questions to ask, as far as like, you know, what it is that they're looking for, why, in what area, what would be for their family, you know, just kind of to build their motivation and find out what their baseline is. So I think that would be helpful. I can message Jason and see if he has it. But yeah, can you just try to get it for it? You have to go
Yeah, I forgot.
So yeah, I do. You know what? I probably I'm still working on a lot of the build-up and like getting people through their questions. I haven't there's still a lot of questions and there's a lot of questions. But digging into their lives a little deeper. I like to start
Don't forget, I'm gonna email you because I need an evaluation for the graduation.
Okay.
5 stars.
Okay, yeah, so we just get on this.
I'll send you the email.
Okay, so we put my details on there, my email and everything.
It's on there? Okay.
My email and number.
Perfect. Thank you so much for coming.
It's actually really good.
Oh, good.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
We done?
No. We're just losing half of us. We're almost done.
Okay.
Or
No worries.
start understanding someone you know. So that helps. I have an appointment with Jay at 4. Just from doing that. And I mean, I assume the only thing I really know about her is she knows where everybody she doesn't care. So if that, you know, if that works, I think that works a little bit better. It's not but still try to ask questions, like, you know, why is it important? Why do you reach some? How is this something that you have now? What issue for you?
And you're Joanna?
You know,
How long have you
just
been
finding out the motivation about but yeah, that was really the only feedback I had. And you know what, you find that it works out way more.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I literally had a guy who answered from me, what's the point of being working because I can afford to make $50
And you're working full-time right now too?
I know, but for,
As a server? If you want to chat with people? Is it more like a
keeping me on mind and asking the questions a little bit. And Bridget,
yeah, so it's definitely more interesting.
and that's definitely to get there. It's not going home. It's going to be getting the school or whatever. And you know, if it's a rent thing, I always say, how would you feel if somebody really directed you tomorrow with an additional 5% appreciation? Like what would you do with that money? And then you start talking about themselves. So I don't know. Those are things that I try just to get to know them better and not on my grades. You want to go? Because they're not thinking about that.
and so like I'm
Yeah.
trying to
But,
like
but he's very like student,
interest rates
and
are high.
so we're going to like my family group. But
Yeah, I mean, if you get a car, that's not gonna help with the financials, that's tough.
Yeah. So I'm just like trying to figure out what your message is. And I feel like I'm saying it online, but
and so I was like, and then that's it. Yeah. Build it up.
It's tough. I'm like, I'm not super certain.
yeah, and that's why I was like, I'm doing because I see it myself. Yeah. There's like, like compared to a lot of other structures, I'm like, I'll be very,
Yeah.
That was,
I mean, I think it's certainly, I started when I was really young, I was 23, and I had like no database, and it was really hard. No, I went to college here. No, I didn't have family here. I just moved here. Most of my college friends moved away because it was too expensive after college. It was really hard. And I did do some big jumps, like some online lead generation, and that helped a little bit, just to kind of like get me a couple deals here and there. I hated
that's all I was
generation, but I was okay at it, and I built that up.
You can always call me or text me just like
Until I could get enough, business. But yeah, I mean, open house, like, I know you probably work weekends, but like open houses.
I was gonna say there's things that accelerate like there was like a word that I highlighted that you said or that you were looking at like you found like your thing on page.
Okay, cool. Don't forget to teach
Early on, I think my biggest success was from on the internet. They're not what they are now. Back then, they were. This was before Zillow existed. It was much better quality. So I would build relationships, but continuously. So you either go cold calling and door knocking and open house route, which will probably get you there faster, or you can go the relationship route. You're probably have to stay in your job longer. But you can build a good business. You just
I've been doing phone calls and honestly I don't find that I try and get it. I talk to like I started calling like I call her so deep into things and harder, Hey, but I definitely want to.
Okay, cool. Well, I'll send you
yeah, percentage from
Okay.
Yeah.
So I called one of the girls out with the gym.
She lives there already. Ask for forgiveness later. Sorry, I'm here. I didn't know that.
7%.
Yeah, I think like that's something I did.
Bring little treats into it, and they're less likely to report you.
Yeah. Do you feel like things
Yeah. I think so. I think it helps. They're less likely to be a jerk to you in person.
yeah, that would
They can still be a jerk, but not usually. Okay, guys, let's finish up class. We only have a few more minutes. We're just rounding out.
I'd rather make 5%.
So, anybody have any successes or anything that they learned they want to share? Good conversations?
Yeah, I'll share. I'll share. I think, even knowing that this person was happy with where they're at and paying what they do, paying rent, and I even tried to ask her her future goals and see if she would even, consider it. It kind of just switched to, oh, well, you have an aunt who has a need, or you have friends or family that, you want to live closer to, or, anyone you can think of. And she just basically said oh, awesome, I'll definitely keep you in mind. And I said, can you connect me with your aunt, even though she just bought, so I can ask her about her experience. And just, try to give her something else, or get something else out of it too. You know, because that didn't really go too far.
Yeah.
But she even admitted, oh, I haven't looked into it. I don't even know where to begin. So I said, well, if that's something that you would want in your future, then I can help you figure out what steps you need to take to get there.
Yeah.
And she said, thank you.
That's awesome. Good job. Very good. Anybody else? Any conversations that were positive they want to share?
Yeah, I talked with like when somebody that like very first reached out to me on like the very first video I posted at the open house the whole time. And he's like, oh yeah, I'll be buying like in a year from now, so I'm like on a monthly touch with him. But he said he should be getting his license to be like a contractor in the next couple months. So I was like, it's exciting. And then we can do that. It's like we touch back and say, hey, congratulations.
And you could be good referral partners too.
Yeah.
That's great.
He always brings that to me.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, good. That's a great conversation. Good. Anybody else?
Nothing fruitful.
Okay, that's okay. Some days it's going to be, you know, great, and some days not so much. Okay, so did anybody have any shifts in their mindset today about anything related to lead gen? Yeah? What?
Just what I said earlier, just kind of shifting the conversation that you're having on a daily basis to more action-based conversations.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, asking more questions about people's personal lives and just trying to dig a little deeper than just ordering coffee.
Oh yeah, that's great. Very good. And you were going to say?
I mean, I've learned that, you know, everybody's uncomfortable, and so I'm like not the only one.
Yeah.
So
we're all in it together.
We're all in it together. I'm not like a special case. So I'm just gonna go because it's harder to reach out for me. It's harder to reach out to Spirit. Just because I don't want to bother them, things like this. But then again, I'm like, well, they don't have a house. I'd rather them to be in my hands than some person who's helping my house that not know what they're doing or they're not doable.
Yeah.
So I'd rather take care of them because I know I'll check all my boxes and try to do the best.
Yeah.
So.
You brought up a really good point. I don't know if you feel this way, but I feel like as a society, we have kind of changed now with texting, that with phone calls, people will, if they don't want to talk to you, they just won't pick up. I feel like, and they'll just like text, oh, you called or whatever, right? Or if they're just really busy. Maybe they want to talk to you, but they're just busy. I feel like they do that. And I feel like the people who answer actually, you know they want to talk to you. At least that's what I feel. Do you guys feel that way too? I just feel like that's how we are now. We're a texting society. Yeah.
It's like your handwritten notes too, you know, it's a personal touch.
Yeah.
People aren't used to getting those. People aren't used to getting phone calls.
Yeah. It's true. It's true. They don't get them. I mean, gosh, I think about how often do I get, when I get handwritten notes, I actually keep them, you know, because I don't get them that much anymore. Yeah. Okay, so we got through a lot today. Have you guys used your daily 10-4? So you have the sheet there, or you can fill it out on your paper. I think it's in command as well. But your goal is to have 10 conversations, 10 contacts added, and 10 handwritten notes. That's between now and Thursday, which is your next class. Today's Tuesday, so you have basically 48 hours to do that. So if you got 5 today, or you get 5 today and 5 tomorrow, does that seem doable? And then maybe follow up with a card to your friend that you talked to on the phone. And to the contractor, do a follow-up. Just like a thank you note.
What about the other two? 10-5-1 engagements?
Okay, yes. So our 10-5-1 social media engagement. That one is, I forget what that one is. 10 conversations, 10 likes, 5 comments, and 1 post.
Okay.
Is what it
Okay.
is. And really, you could do
Daily, if you don't want to post it, they said it's okay to also private message.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yes,
Private message or comment. Private message, you're probably more likely to get a response too. So that's a great point. Thank you for bringing that up. Okay, and then our usual TCPA warning. Make sure you don't do the do not call list, guys. Scrub it, but you're calling people you know, so right now you don't need to worry about that too much, but when you start doing cold calling, you need to make sure.
So Bridget,
Yes.
something I struggle with, and I don't really know why, I feel like I haven't really reached out to people from my past, or like, old friends or coworkers, people from back home.
Yep.
I feel like I'm less inclined to reach out to them, and I find it easier to talk to strangers. So
It's easier to get rejected from strangers than from your own sphere. That's true.
So I feel like there's kind of a divide between like my database and my sphere. So,
Yeah.
And I even keep them in separate places. So if that tells you anything, so this was helpful because I'm literally thinking about people that I already have a relationship with.
Yeah.
But I kind of shied away from doing that. So,
there are agents out there who choose not to work with their friends and family at all. They just refer them out. To me, I can't imagine doing that because I work with, a majority of my friends choose to work with me when they buy or sell. So I have a hard time understanding that, but I also know that sometimes the transactions can be super stressful. Like, I'm a certified divorce real estate expert, so I work with a lot of family law attorneys. If one of my friends was getting divorced, I would probably not be the right person because I'm trained to be a third party neutral, and it's really hard to be a third party neutral when you know both parties and you probably hate one of them. Or one of them's trying to convince you to hate the other, right? So on those, I would probably consider myself, I'd have to probably I would have to refer them out. But typically for friends or family, I would probably, I think I would always work with them, with the exception of maybe like my dad, because he's really but like, he doesn't even live here in San Diego anyway. But if he did, I'd probably refer him out, and I'd probably feel so bad I wouldn't even ask for a referral. Oh wait, this is being recorded. I should be careful. But I mean, honestly, he knows I think he's a pain. So but if you have those kind of scenarios in your family, that one jerk of an uncle or a parent or a sibling that you love and you get along with, but you just know it would be a disaster to work with them on that level, then yeah, those are the ones you refer out. But you might decide that you don't want to work with people you know at all, and you want to just work with your database of people that are more Mets, but not necessarily like your close sphere. You know what I mean? And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. There's plenty of agents in here that would be more than happy to take your referrals, for your close friends in your family. So, yeah, that's a really good point. Thanks for bringing that up, because sometimes those can be a little.
Do you think you're more scared of just the initial reach out, or like the actual working?
I think I noticed that I don't reach out. Yeah, like when she asked me, who could you be calling right now that you haven't? And I said, I know a lot. Like, my list is huge. So, and maybe I think that by posting on social media, that's enough for them to see, to know that I'm in the industry and could help them. So I just kind of leave it up to them.
Yeah.
Instead of directly talking to them. And it's people I haven't talked to in years, Old coworkers, friends from back home. So it's also kind of like, well, hey, I haven't been in touch with them for so long that it feels unnatural and not genuine to reach out.
So those, you would do the I'm sorry call. I'm so sorry. We haven't talked in what has it been, 5 years or whatever? And the call would be more of a reconnection call. But the thing is that you're going to ask, what have you been up to? And then they're going to ask, what about you? What have you been up to? Or, oh, hey, I saw you just got into real estate. That's your cue to go in. So it doesn't have to be you're calling for real estate. It could be you're calling to reconnect. And real estate will naturally come up almost always. Almost always it'll come up.
Yeah. I was going to say, I reconnected with an old coworker, and I quickly go into coffee talking, she doesn't know because they're from the channel. Yeah, and it literally reconnected us so well. So like, I don't know, something like that to like a bunch of people might be an easy way for you to like receive response.
Yeah,
You know?
especially since my address book is very messy and old.
Yeah.
It's like, how many Davids do I know?
Yeah.
So that would be helpful too.
No, I think that's a great idea, doing something simple like that. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, good. Well, don't forget to update whatever updates you have. Make sure you put it in there. And then we're going to move on. So I was going to say next week, but that's not right. Thursday, your class is going to be growing your database. So we talked a lot about your database. You have lots of ideas. So Thursday's class should be a breeze for all of you. You're all going to be pros. I forget who's teaching it, but I'm sure they'll be amazing, whoever they are. So, before I ask for any questions or final thoughts, I do want to beg you all to please go to KWU eval on your phone and do an evaluation of me. I am trying to get to 50 5-star ratings on there. It sounds like an Uber driver. Because I'm in the long haul process of becoming a Keller Williams approved trainer, where I can go around the country training people. So if you can give me a 5, my name is Bridget Potterton. If you feel I did not excel and you're giving me a 4 or below, my name is Sarah Smirley. And I'll stick around for a few minutes if you guys have any questions. Anybody have any final thoughts or anything they want to share? This was a lot of content, guys, and it wasn't the most exciting class of all the classes. So thank you for being very engaging today.
It was fun.
Not the most exciting.
It was great.
Oh, good. That's
I
good.
learned a lot.
Oh, good. That makes
Yes,
me feel
very
good.
helpful.
Okay.
I'm going to take all that little things and try to make it
Well, hopefully the big thing you all took away is that there's a lot of different ways to lead gen, and it doesn't have to be just, sitting in front of the phone and calling people you don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, but I got really great ideas.
I mean, even today, having conversations with each other, one of you may decide in 6 months you don't want to be in the business, and all that lead gen is going to go somewhere, right? You might end up preferring each other's business. This could be a lead gen opportunity right here.
That's true.
You
Is
just
this
never.
Ignite 5?
Yes.
Generating leads?
Yes.
All right. It's very nice meeting you.
Nice to meet you too. Thank you again. Thanks for doing the evaluation. I'll send an email out too to people.
I don't see your name.
Yeah, you have to scroll and add me. Sorry. And let me write it down. Bridget.
Just one T?
Just one T. And then Potterton. Like Harry Potter, a ton of them. A ton of Harry Potters. Potterton.
That 2 T's or 1 T?
2 T's.
I can't see that far.
Yeah. Potterton.
Do you have a team?
I am a solo agent with a full-time admin and a part-time virtual assistant and a shared team.
That would be no.
No, I do not. I have grown several teams. I actually had my own brokerage before I came to KW. Yeah, I don't know. It just, I have a fair amount of agents that actually show property for me because I don't really like to work on the weekends anymore.
Yeah.
I have a little one, so I team up with people a fair amount. Like I don't do open houses. I don't usually show on weekends, with some exceptions here and there. But I usually just have I pay agents in our market center to do it for me if they're willing, and there's plenty that are. It's good experience for some of them that are newer, but not all the agents in our office are that busy, so it works out. They can make a couple bucks on the weekend, and I can have some free time.
Yeah.
So it works out really well. I'm a big fan of collaboration, but I have kind of a unique business, so I have probably about 75 to 80% of my business is referral, sphere, that kind of thing, and then the other 20 to 25%, depending on the time of year, is divorce. Okay, so I would love to find a really good agent that could help me with the divorces, but there's so much training that is involved in that. There's only one other agent who in our office who's been trained extensively in it, and she doesn't even do it actively anymore. So.
What about Lisa? Doesn't she have a lawyer's background? Legal background? Lisa?
What's her name? Lisa, L-I-Z-A, Lisa,
It looks like Liza.
I can't remember her last name. She was part of EWG, or
I don't even know who that is. She even in this office?
UHG. Yeah.
Her daughter just got her license. Shoot, what is her name? She just sent me a.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never heard of her. But we have a couple hundred agents in our office.
Yeah, that's true. We have a lot. But yeah, I know she was an attorney before she did real estate.
Oh, she's a recovering attorney. Huh?
I've
been calling her.
But yeah, I was just curious. I would be open to and want to show property for you, if you would let me.
Yeah. Email Victor.
That's right.
Tell him you took the class. Say you want to be on our open house list and show property list. Bridget said to email
How do
you.
I get Victor's?
Bridge Coast, BRIDGE COAST @gmail.com. Perfect. And just say, Bridget told me to email you. Can you add me to your open house preferred list and your showing agent list? And then all set. Thanks for coming and thank you for the evaluation. Appreciate it.
See you later.
I'm glad you guys decided to crash the class.
Yeah,
me too. Good. I hope you. Wow.
It was good.
We were just talking about, Legion and we go to Steven's scripts and stuff, but
Oh, yeah,
I was talking to Siobhan and I was like, I feel like I need more. I don't attend any other meetings, and even though it does take up time, I mean, just going to scripts 3 days a week and not practicing it doesn't help me. Because there's a ton of people on the call, so only like a handful get to go.
Yeah.
So I feel like, the call sometimes it's a brand new feeling every day, depending on the type of call.
I bet you the scripts is more helpful than you think.
Yeah.
Because
I feel like in the last 3 months, I have gotten so much more comfortable. Because I do feel like I have
Steven has really good, he has such a good background from his whole team. So, he's like the best person to learn from that stuff. I feel like Kyler too as well, but Stephen Jack is like, he coaches me. It's awesome.
Yeah. I met him from the gym at DB.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, yeah.
So,
I didn't even know he was in real estate. I was getting my license and then I said, I like that guy. I want to be friends with him. I don't know what he does. And then I found out.
He's so great. I just love him. He's just like such a good guy. We're so glad to have him in the office.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
Well, he used to be the team leader for our whole office.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because he's been with Keller Williams for
he used to be with Matt's coaching in Austin, and then he was with Chris Heller's team. They used to be one of the largest teams in San Diego. I don't even know what's going on with that team anymore. Because I think the main guy, Chris Heller, who used to be the CEO of Keller Williams, he had a team here, then he was the CEO, and then he came back, but I don't think he's actually active. But I think his team is. I think he's like a 7th level where he's not even really involved.
So removed from.
Yeah. And so Steven was like the director of the buyer side of his team or something. And then Steven was here, he was team leader. And then he was also team leader of a market center up in Los Angeles for a while. And then he came back down, and then now he's working with, what's his name, Cody Gibson? Is that who you remember?
Yes. Cody Gibson and Michael Putty.
I don't know who that guy is.
So he just took Cody's place. And now Cody has more time to, dedicate to the actual hands-on portion. So they kind of role swapped.
Oh.
And I mean, but he's just, I mean, the way he talks in his brain, and I don't really get bored during the development calls because they're jam packed. So
That's good.
yeah, and I mean, and that's why I really am.
So how many people are on your team now?
So my team continues to keep growing. I don't know if they're going to stay on the team, but I think there's 6 or 7 of us.
I think he said
But I
there's 7
think